Hi everybody, I'm Ed.
And I'm Sandy.
And this little travel video is about the time we were in Dodge City, Kansas just last summer. And wow, what an amazing place. You know, America is just one amazing place after another. I don't think I've ever seen so many cattle in all my life. And the stink that comes with it. But a lot of firsts there, right?
A lot of firsts, yes. We saw our first Longhorn steer and our first white buffalo. White buffaloes are very rare.
That's true.
We saw our first feed farm for cattle and our first meat packing plant.
Which was huge. We didn't take a tour, but I mean the scope of it. But anyway, you'll see. And it was just a good learning experience. And always check out the little tiny information booths, the travel centers, the Chamber of Commerce, because they had information that we couldn't find online, and that's what led us seeing that
the white buffalo.
The white buffalo.
Otherwise,
we would have never known anything about it. There was nothing, no literature about it. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy this, and if this happens to be the first one of our videos you've tripped across, please consider watching our other travel videos and other things that we post about how-tos and what it's like living full-time RV. If you're already subscribed, thank you very much. Please send your questions and comments. We always try and do better, and we know we can all do better, so feel free. Light it up. And we hope you enjoy things. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Sandy.
And I'm Ed.
And this is General, our totally awesome water dog.
We used to live on the Outer Banks in North Carolina, but one day we found both of ourselves unemployed.
So we decided to take a chance. We sold everything, bought a trailer, and left to explore America. We're learning as we go along, but we still make mistakes.
But we get a lot of things right too. So come join us as we learn to RV full-time, explore America, and share in our exciting journey of discovery. Our next adventure is just over the hills.
On our way to Dodge City, we passed by a plant that makes all the parts for the big wind turbines, so that was pretty cool. We are outside of Dodge City, and they have markers here for a spot on the Santa Fe Trail, and we're supposed to be able to see the actual wagon ruts of the trail, so we're going to go take a look. So the Arkansas River is down in that valley, and the wagons traveled up here on these little hills to avoid the muddiness that was down there. It was kind of bog-like. So you got this wide open prairie up on this hill. So I'm guessing what we're looking at, you can see right on the crest of the hill, there looks to be a trail up there. And it goes across this land for a little while. On Airport Road in Dodge City, there's this very small park, but it's got a fenced-in yard with a bunch of Longhorn steers. There's about maybe half a dozen of them, maybe 8. But this was pretty awesome because we had never seen them before, and we were really anxious to see what they look like and how they act. So this was really cool. Just getting a drink. Do you hear that slurping? Got a little baby. She's so cute. And I think this is Smokey. That goes along with the sign. He was on the reenactment of the steer herd back in 1995. Pretty awesome. This steam train sits right next to the visitor center downtown, and it is open to the public. You can wander around it freely. Dodge City has several statues in the town, and most are right along the main street, so they're real easy to find. They also have a bunch of these medallions embedded into the sidewalks, and these are kind of scattered all over town. They also have a bunch of these metal signs on the light poles throughout town, and this is pretty awesome from an artwork point of view. Now, of course, the main attraction in Dodge City is Boot Hill. Boot Hill is a collection of buildings along with an old cemetery that were relocated to this particular area downtown. Now they have this old hotel, which is the entrance to the museum, and it's also a huge gift shop and a wonderful gift shop. We did find this map that gives you an idea of what Dodge City looked like back in the 1800s. And then when you go up the hill to the Boot Hill Cemetery, they've got a bunch of old headstones and everything. It's kind of a cute place. Up on that hill, there's also a really awesome museum, and that museum has a bunch of information about the Native American Indians that used to live in this area. Awesome information, totally awesome. They've actually got some old costumes as well, which of course is more interesting for me than it is for most people, but pretty awesome museum up on the hill. And then you get down at the bottom of the hill, there's the collection of old buildings that used to be on Front Street, on the main street in Dodge City, and they've been relocated to this area. So you've got the original buildings, and inside these buildings, they have them, they're kind of split in half. The front half of the building towards the front doors is set up, you know, kind of as that building would have been set up way back when. And then the back section of the buildings is kind of all joined together as another museum, and they've got a ton of exhibits in there. It's just an amazing place, and we spent quite a bit of time. Now, of course, other people that have been to Dodge City before, you probably have heard about the street show that they do, but we visited off season. It was the beginning of October, and they weren't doing that anymore, so we did miss that, unfortunately. But Boot Hill is a pretty awesome place. So we also went to take a look at the white buffalo that we didn't know about and wouldn't have been able to find out about if we hadn't stopped into the visitor center. The lady there was very knowledgeable about her area, as they all are, and she pointed us right to it. And that was an awesome find because white buffaloes are extremely rare. And then right down the street from where the white buffalo was a feed farm. And we had seen one of these in the last town that we were at, close to Lamar and Benshold Fort. But we didn't really understand what it was we were looking at. So we did some research online and found out a feed farm is where the ranchers take their cattle to be kind of beefed up. To give them some last minute weight gain so they get more money for them when they go to market. So this is kind of a customized strategy. Each rancher can decide what kind of feed he wants his cattle to get. So it's not all, you know, steroids and artificial stuff and stuff like that. They do have different packages that you can get for your cattle. So it's hard to see from these pictures, but these are kind of situated in little corrals, and there's probably about 100 to 200 cattle in each corral. So they're all separate. Each rancher has their own corral, and their cattle goes in that corral. And it's a pretty amazing process. We also drove by the meatpacking plant in the area, and that was an amazing sight to see just driving by it. I mean, the place is huge. And this place employs more people than the local Walmart does. I think it's like 3,000 some people employed by this meatpacking plant here in Dodge City. Just pretty amazing. We also went in to take a look at the old Dodge City Depot. Now, this is kind of an interesting critter, not like any other depot we'd ever seen before, because this particular depot was actually set up as a Harvey house. Now, if you're not sure what a Harvey house is, I've never heard of it before, and we hadn't. It's kind of like a mini hotel. So like when people come in on the train and they actually have to wait for another train, you know, like a stopover or something, they can actually spend the night in this hotel, and they serve food. They have a restaurant, like kind of like a cafeteria and stuff, to take care of all your needs while you're there. So pretty interesting thing. They also kept one of the original hotel rooms intact, so you could see what the hotel rooms look like that they used back then. And next we visited the Dalton Gang hideout. Now this is in Meade, Kansas, which is a little bit of a drive from Dodge City, but it wasn't a terrible drive. But we thought this was a really interesting thing and we wanted to check it out. So this house is actually where the Dalton brothers' sister lived with her husband. It looks like a tiny house, but it's actually 2 stories. It's a pretty awesome place on the inside. But the thing is, they dug a tunnel from the basement of the house that goes into the barn that's further on down the hill. So when somebody was coming to the house looking for the Dalton gang, they took off through that tunnel and came out from the barn and escaped anybody that was looking for them.
So we are in Eva Dalton's house. Now Eva Dalton hosted the Dalton gang in Hideout. And how did they do this? Well, they took a tunnel that went from the house to the barn so they could go back and forth and not be seen. Pretty amazing. And here it is. It's a little house. It was a long time. This isn't actually the original tunnel. It's been, since it was discovered, it's been heightened a little bit so we can all walk through it. Back in the day, it was just enough to get back and through. And now here within the barn is now the gift shop and museum.
While we were in the Meade area, we also decided to take a look at the Meade County Historical Society Museum. And this was actually a pretty awesome place. Their claim to fame is actually their saddle collection. They have a ton of old saddles, and these things were just amazing to look at. But a pretty awesome museum.
Where did you go, Mommy? Where did you go? Where did you go?
Here comes the cat. Here comes the cat.